What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Linden.
This is Amy.
And Coach Debbie.
And we are the coaches over at Getting It Daily. So people are going to get this confused because Amy teaches here, but they've been asking her to coach, so we're just going to throw her in the coach's bucket.
I'm glad you're on board.
I'm just going to listen, I guess.
Going with
hey,
it.
that one's for me, though.
Right?
That's for me.
But I like to think that anyone who teaches or works here is a coach in their own area or aspect anyway, so it does make sense that people would ask questions of those they find value in. All right. We also have Coach LJ. He can't say his name yet, so there's gonna be some cooling on the mic. Apologies in advance, but hey, that's what we're here to do. So we'll get into topics. We'll get into topics. Most may know or may not know, my birthday's coming up this week coming. So I turned 40.
Woo!
And a lot of people are asking me, first of all, it's very interesting to see how people treat birthdays versus how I've treated birthdays most of my life. And they're like, celebrate all month, celebrate all week, or you're not more excited, why you're not talking about it more? And it's like a half and half for me. So I figured we would talk about, celebrating, right? There's been a lot of things. I think there's been a lot of things to celebrate in our current season. This is a season where like a lot of people are struggling to like make it work and show up for themselves. Now for even others, just themselves. This is really a season about showing up for others. So showing up for themselves and connecting that with showing up with others. So I'd like to talk about celebrating. We've been covering the mental, the physical, and the spiritual aspect of celebration. So why don't we start there? Start with the mental.
Okay. I think I'm probably similar to you when it comes to celebrating just things in general. I never really I think celebration has a lot to do with tradition.
Right.
And I traditionally didn't have many traditions. Like when I talk to my friends, they're like, oh yeah, I go to Old Homes Days every year with the family, or I go to somewhere and I do this every year with my family. And I'm like, I'm hard pressed to think back and something consistently I did.
Sure.
For any holidays, especially when it came to my birthdays and I got out on my own. I kind of was like, oh yeah, it's my birthday today. People was like, it's your birthday today? Oh my God. I was like, yeah, we all have one. And then I'd like move past it like that,
That's it, guys. I've acknowledged it. Thank you.
I think there is something to it though. Like, as I learned to celebrate more and learn to like create tradition of my own, I think those things are more important.
That's all you want.
Because we talked about staying present. I think that's one of the things is like you get to take stock. Every birthday, every holiday, whatever it is, you get to take stock of where you were last year at that time. There is a chance to celebrate, which I think gives people a chance to come together in a time where normally it's like stay on your own and grind, go to work, People will make time for your birthday or whatever holiday it is, which is cool. And I think mentally that helps you stack wins. A lot of the time you just move straight past the birthday or straight past the holiday and be like, yeah, I'm doing the thing. But that'll slow you down just enough, and having other people celebrate with you gives you time to be like, all right, yeah, I did survive another year. I did do this year, I did. And I'm looking forward to the next year. So that's how I look at it mentally. It's like a time for you to reflect and gain some wins.
Yeah.
Birthdays.
How about you?
Yeah. I do like to use it as a time to reflect. Probably that's happened like in the past 10 years, I would say. Before that, like, I don't think there was a lot. I never did like a birthday month type of thing. Growing up, you still had to go to the barn on your birthday, so I don't know. Like, it's like a thing that happens, but I think a lot of business as usual. I do actually take my birthday off now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
Now that I'm older.
New things.
Because I usually like to do something, maybe like get a massage. This year I also turned 40.
Nice.
And I performed on my birthday. I actually was in a really big
Remember.
show. A bunch
Yeah.
of people came to see me. So I do think I've maybe leaned in a little bit as in my
Celebration.
yeah, in the celebrating with others, because I think I have been surrounded by a lot of people who like to celebrate like
Sure.
that. So I've maybe absorbed some of it. Where it is okay to take a break. It is okay to like celebrate yourself. Not something that I'm great at. And just like, yeah, taking an opportunity to be present with the people that I'm blessed to have around me, and to reflect with the things that I have accomplished and acquired, and
Fair.
maybe the things that I'm still looking to reach for.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had to equate it, I would say we're gonna be looking off camera a lot. LJ's moving around, so I would definitely say that I equate a lot of it to just being able to take inventory, right? Like for me, birthdays celebrated feels like mediocrity to me. And I don't know how to better say that than to just simply say that, right? Like turning another year is something that has to be done. It's not something you've accomplished, right? I don't look at it as something you've accomplished. I expect myself to make it to the next year. It's like one of the rudimentary things of being alive, right? So when those things happen, I don't necessarily look at them as things to be celebrated. I also have similar stories to the two of you, due to our own mistakes growing up. My parents, they threatened to, only give us, socks and underwear for, Christmas. And we thought it was funny because we were like, whatever, you're not going to do that. They did that. They probably did that for about a good 8 or 9 years, right? Mm-hmm. So when Christmas came around and everybody was excited to get under their tree, we already knew it was coming, right? And we were just it just kind of became it's better to have no anticipation than to anticipate and be disappointed. Right? So celebration on a mental note is more I think the reason I look at it as mundane is because now when I do celebrate, I celebrate my kids, I spend time with my family. It's not like those things don't happen, but to me, milestones are to be celebrated. So 40 is a milestone. I'm not saying it's not. That is a milestone. But also I'm more focused on what I can do with the time I got left before this dude grows up. You know what I'm saying? That's more me than anything else. So when I was getting asked even today, right? I was like, I just see it as another day, man. I'm not really looking at it as something where I have to celebrate some big thing. To me, this is another day, and I'm listening at the milestone is Sunday, so I've got all this stuff to do before I can relax, right? Relaxing to me isn't what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the day comes and then I just do. It's no, these things are done, so now I can relax. So that part, I can't even enjoy being out of town if I don't finish a couple things before I go, right? Also, dad mode turns on for me, right? So, thinking about celebrating isn't really, I'm nah, is he safe? Did he choose something? What's he doing? It's more that stuff for me than anything else. Yeah. So I would definitely lean into that as far as the mental or the physical portion is involved, right? Yeah, the physical portion is I'm on task. Right? So the mental for me is it's not a big deal. I'll celebrate it when it gets here. Again, actually earn celebrating it. And then the physical, that's crazy. Random as hell.
Just need a little music for that one.
How did that happen? All right, listen, we're just gonna keep going. All right, so I was saying what did I say? The mental? It threw me off. The mental is once I earn the milestone, I feel like I can truly celebrate. The physical is I'm just on task, man. So until task is done, I can't relax, right? Celebrations aren't a place to just be yay, I exist. They're a place to be no, I've accomplished this thing, and I would like to now celebrate that. That feels great to me. So I guess that's what I personally struggle with when it comes to celebrations. And how do I overcome them? I focus on the task. That's the best thing. That's the best advice I can give you. The best advice I can give you is I focus on the task. Whether it be little man's birthday, celebrating the wife, whatever, right? I focus on the task. So that's how I would get around. I actually just had that talk yesterday because a friend was asking me about like how I can do all these things and not get a lot of reciprocity from the person I'm with, right? I had to explain that my reciprocity doesn't look like what it probably looks like for them, right? I don't need my wife to do grand gestures. I need my wife to fill the small moments for me, right? Like that's what helps me to continue to do the path. So when it comes to, I'm gonna call that a combination of mental and physical. I'm looking at like I come home and my driveway's clear, or I come home and I like it when my wife does make food for me in the evenings. I like that to be done because I come home late at night, right? I'm not some dude coming home at 4 o'clock and being like, "Where's dinner?" You know, it's very much so like 8, 9 o'clock coming in the door. And it's like, you know, if I have our son, you are free to provide and nurture. So I would love to see you do that so that way I feel better. So that's the stuff that like fuels me, not the big party bullshit that I could care less about. Right?
I like that you said that because I was thinking about a lot of gift giving as like a love language and why it's been so hard for me up until now to even accept that that was one of my love languages. And I think it's that right there. It's like, a lot of the times, physically celebration feels like decompression. At least in my head, I'm like, yo, it should feel like I'm decompressing from whatever it is. And a lot of the time, celebration actually feels like a ramp. And it's because,
like a job.
It's because I don't get a chance. Like I'm already in this role as my normal job. And then when I go to celebrate, a lot of the time I feel like I have to slip into that role again just to celebrate in mass with people and like manage energies. And I'm already holding space for people's energy on a daily. So, yeah, facts. So then I'm like kind of feeling that way on a lot of celebrations, big celebrations, where I have to keep an eye out, make sure, you know, like people's energies are still, you know, balanced, and I don't think I have a chance to really turn that off unless I'm by myself a lot of the time. So I've spent a lot of birthdays just like in my room, you know, chilling, decompressing, like what that looks like to me, playing some video games, you know, watching something, getting caught up on some things. That feels very much like celebration to me. And I've been trying to figure out a way to do that with the people that I love, you know, to have it feel like decompression and also be in space with people I love. And I think it has to do with that. Like, is this celebration a break from the norm, or is it helping me get back to my norm in a better state? You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of the time I want it to help me get back to my norm, but I'm set up better than I was before the celebration. I don't really know how to put that exactly besides like the things you were just saying, like cooking for me, you know, cleaning up the house, things like that feel like now when I get back to the regular scheduled program, I don't have to worry about like these things. These things are now set up for me to succeed.
Yeah, I think, okay, so this is how I knew. Okay, so I was talking to actually Emily, and I was talking to Emily about, like she was talking about Zach, shout outs to Zach, who they went to Spain recently, right? And how that was a whole thing that they had to do and be with. I told you there's gonna be a lot of looking off a camera. This dude is active now. And we all know what that's like, right? Like we all know what it's like to travel to some regard. I'm not saying go to Spain, but just travel in general. Now Zach is a little younger, right? And because Zach is younger, they're gonna get a lot of experience being out of town. So when Em was talking about leaving to like discover self, and I was like, I think that's a load of bullshit, right? And I know so many people are gonna disagree with me on that, right? But here's the point I was trying to make, and I think I made it well, but I'm talking about it here just to workshop it a little bit, I guess. The point is that you're running from the work that you have to do no matter where it is, right? If you go out and you do it somewhere else, you're still gonna come back to your life and having to do it. Now, I'm not saying don't go to retreats, don't go to things that could give you tools to come back to your life and enrich your life. I'm saying if you escape, you gotta come back eventually, unless you completely throw everything away, right? Most people aren't looking to uproot and completely destroy the lives they've built. They're looking to create some type of semblance, right? And that's the thing I'm looking for. LJ, don't go in that back room. I'm watching you. Don't put your hand up. So a lot of the different things that come with it is realizing like that's the whole piece, right? The whole piece is you can't run from the work you need to do. In fact, I worked really hard to build a life that I didn't need to run from, right? But and I try to say this so people understand, because I think a lot of people, I use my own life as a way to relate to other people's and share like what's what and how it's done. I think I give a great love, right? And what I mean by that is I learn my person and I give ways that I know they will appreciate, right? I love my wife. She is terrible at this, right? Now, but if I say I want this, she usually will be able to get that for me, right? And she makes it like her thing. And this is her first effort of doing it without my input, right? Like I don't have no input on this whatsoever. Normally I'm just like, yeah, I just kind of need this, or I want to do this so I can come home and relax, and that's enough for me, right? But you can also see, unfortunately, why that would turn into me not looking at like big celebrations as a thing that's necessary. It's my love language is gentle, soft, and consistent, right? I don't need it to be loud, obnoxious, and all over the place. Good catch. All right, and a lot of that. So that's what I was talking about with them. I said you don't need to travel to find yourself. You just need to find yourself. Traveling can be part of that, sure, but I'm not saying like when people say I'm gonna go here and relearn who I am. I'm like, I don't agree with that. Ironically, I think the thing that you're going to do is go somewhere. Whatever you've been telling yourself you are and what spaces you inhabited is now going to be kind of exposed. Now, you may be more of that person, or you may not be that person at all. And that's what looks like discovery to so many people when they take trips. But like, it's like taking have you ever just tried not talking to people and seeing how many people actually communicate well? Right? Like
Yes,
not
I
using
have.
your words and see, it's terrible. It's the average person has no idea what they feel themselves. So they're always trying to project with their words. But I learned that. I learned it being silent. If we could communicate silently, then there is a bond there that's
We
pretty
know each
big.
other in a
that's a pretty
different
big
way.
bond, right? So I took that, and again, I was talking to Em about that because, life transitions happen, and as life transitions happen, when you are going through a hard thing, the first thing you're looking for is who you are, right? Like who am I through this? You might even not see yourself, or maybe you spent a long time not seeing yourself and now you're trying to see yourself. All of these could be part of it. So again, to me, if you're making intentional choice, then your life mimics something you don't have to relax from, right? Like it's still hard for me to realize like this little dude being part of my life. I remember before he came, you may remember this, you may not, we talked about this. I was saying like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have him a lot, just because of how life is moving. We don't really want him to go into daycare like that. So I might have him every single day. It might be a thing I gotta deal with, right? And it's still an adjustment period for me now. Again, he keeps changing so fast. There's no normal with this kid, right? There's only moments and pockets of normal. But I do believe the last 8 years have been set up so I could learn how to function in abnormal space, to be there for him, right? Just like clients. Again, Ashley taught me how to interact with women no matter the states, because I've had to do that with her. They're lessons that I get to carry into new chapters into new chapters and new seasons, right? So I guess I'm looking at the spiritual aspect of connection and then manifestation, right? We were talking about the consciousness levels and everything else. I'm really talking about the fact that like, as I live as me, I get to see how the life I have doesn't need, like I don't feel exhausted. I just feel like tired and then renewed, tired and then renewed, tired and then renewed, tired and then renewed, like repeatedly, because of how my life is set up.
Facts.
So that for me I don't need to take a break from that. Like when we do go to this thing, I'm like, I have no idea how this is gonna be. My thing I won't like, I'm saying it on camera because it's gonna come up eventually. The one thing I won't like is if it's a show. I'm not here to entertain none of you motherfuckers. I ain't gonna lie. That's not me. That ain't my thing. So if that's the way she thinks it's gonna go, she's gonna be sadly mistaken. I will be taking walks and no one will be around. Right? Like I'll be like, I'm good. I'm just gonna leave. Right? And that's just because of who I am. Right? I don't need to entertain anyone but myself. Right? And without my son being around, that will be my chance to do just that. So if somebody thinks there's gonna be a pony show, they're gonna be pretty pissed off because I'm not gonna do that. I found that's how I relax. When I go, I don't entertain. I may be entertaining, but I do not entertain. Fair? And
Willing
that,
to be entertained.
yeah, like I love, like again, I tell jokes, I laugh all the time. Most people think I'm a mean old cuss when they first meet me, right? And it's like, nah, I'm actually loving, caring, all the stuff in between. But you got to be in an intimate space to receive those parts. You understand what I'm saying? I don't show all of me to everyone. Everyone does not deserve to be in the circle that is all of me. I learned that. Hence the reason why I will not platitude your attitude. I won't do it. Like, it's not my thing. I won't do it. I want no parts. So if this allows me to truly be myself, I will love every single second of it. But if it does not, you will be like, yo, where'd Linda go? Oh man, he went on a walk like an hour ago, right? And it won't even be like I'm mad. I just know what I need. You know, got to take what you need if it isn't there for you. I think I covered it all. For
Spiritual?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The spiritual part is manifesting the celebration you want, even if the celebration doesn't match what you want. Getting what you need when you don't have what you want. Yeah, he likes the death drop.
Why are you holding on to the table like that?
Doing that reverse Nordic. Let's go.
So that's a big partial of the proponent for, like, the whole thing for me is, again, if I'm really trying to be better, there's things I'm willing to do to be better. But if we're talking about celebrating, then again, I'm gonna do it how I'd actually like to do it. And I hope that's with everyone. But if it's not, I'm okay with doing it by myself. And that's my whole thing, right? I think most people have kind of figured that out about me, right? That have spent time in space with me. It's like, yeah, let it cool, but sometimes he don't want to deal with nobody. He ain't dealing with nobody. Right? Well, good block. Good block. You mad about it? She saved your hand.
You should have felt the table then.
Right?
It's gonna be hard.
So, what do you guys think spiritually? What do you got?
You want me to go?
We can keep the order.
All right.
That's fine.
Spiritually, I'm thinking about something I was sent. Who sent me this? Carlette. Carlette sent me something about.
She's been plugging in lately.
Yeah.
Like, plugging in.
About a caterpillar and a butterfly. And it was like a lot of the time, the metaphor is caterpillars eat and butterflies fly and pollinate. So butterflies have more of a purpose than caterpillars and are more important to the world and keeping the world from crumbling than caterpillars. It's like, and that's really what I think a lot of celebration, the manifestation or the taking stock, that's the mental into the spiritual, is like realizing where you can go through that metamorphism over and over again in order to give to the world, in order to like fulfill your role in the world, which is to pollinate, which is to like keep it from crumbling. Without you showing up as a butterfly, the world crumbles in a way. I've been thinking about that. It's like the spiritual side of taking stock and why it's important, and why it's important to have people around you that like show you your blind spots and help you celebrate your wins. Because like that is a big part of it. You can look at your blind spots all the time, but if you're not able to celebrate your wins fully, you don't gain the confidence to actually share with the world in an authentic way.
Yeah.
And
well, I think that speaks to your journey in general, right?
Yeah.
Like when you first came in here, you were a different person. Not different as in you weren't you, but like the things you were willing to do, the things you were willing to have or not have, what you thought you were worthy of, like a lot of that stuff changed. And I don't think people realize that, like, for a lot of us, especially the people who really believe what we do here, training is a catalyst, right? It's a catalyst for increasing your mental toughness and kind of seeing who you really are, right? I was laughing because Chelsea came yesterday. She wasn't supposed to, right? Because we had told everybody to come off, and then she was like, "Are you in there?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you working out by yourself?" I was like, "Yeah." And she started asking me, I got to work out in groups. I was like, you know what's funny? I like to work out by myself, right? Like, I love to, like, tell Lyndon what Lyndon needs to hear so Lyndon can do something difficult and get through it. And I also akin that to more spiritual connection anyway. I love you guys, but you can't walk my journey. And because I understand you can't walk my journey, there needs to be time I spend with, you know, a greater power, God, for me to be able to continue to show up for everybody, because some of the times showing up the way I have shown up is, I would agree that it is well beyond my own capabilities, right? And that's only can be done if I continue to fill my cup. So those moments are big to me. They are necessary. And I think that's what you're referring to, and that's what you're learning. Like, yes, obviously there's some example from me for there, but like, you did it yourself. Right? I remember this. I don't know if you remember this, but you were like, I gotta fail every day, right? To the average person, that's like, it's like, all right, that's just some mantra nonsense. No, you were in here every single day trying to do something that you failed at. And now you are literally one of the strongest guys in the space, hands down. It's not about not being strong. It's about getting what you need. Whoa, you tired?
Yeah, he's tired.
So, I think that's, you know, that expands on what you were talking about.
Facts. Yeah.
All right, you.
Spiritual.
Keep going. Yeah,
Yeah.
Amy, you haven't talked a little bit. We've been just talking back.
That's all right. So I'm thinking, I'm listening. You know, I'm thinking back to April, because I also turned 40 this year, so milestone. And I don't think I said physically, but that in itself, that performance was like a physical,
Ridiculous.
like,
draining thing.
I don't know, accomplishment. Yeah, it was it was a feat of strength. So it felt good to be able to do that. Spiritually, I feel like when it comes to my birthday, I feel like I'm always looking ahead. Spiritually, like, that manifestation, that, like, what am I aiming towards, right? Like, okay, we hit the marker, where we're counting from that date, and then, like, where am I going from here? I feel like I'm always looking forward from that date, just because I don't want to, I don't know. This year, I didn't necessarily need any big celebration. I was like, I'm doing my show. That's what I'm doing. If you guys want to come, you can be there. We went out after. It was great.
Yeah.
It felt really like a great way for me to personally celebrate, because it's just doing something that I love. So,
Fair.
spiritually, just connecting, right, with myself and seeing where that journey's going to go.
I like it. That's big. I mean, most of this is big, right? Most of this is, it's funny because we celebrate similarly. And I say this and I own this, and this is why. If people want to call us a cult, let them have it, right? Because they can't understand the type of love that's happening in here because of all the people coming together the way they are. Finding a place where you really feel like the people are really here for a similar reason and similar stretch as you, which is why, like, when Nash asked me, she was like, who would you invite? I've got tons of people I could invite, and I'm not saying that, like, laudably. Again, if you've kind of gone in public with me, you've seen it's like there's plenty of people who know me in different spaces and places, and that sounds great. But I don't, you know, I never really wanted to celebrate this because it never felt like it was going to be a show, right? So when she asked me, and then she told me, like, Amy was putting it together and some of the other stuff, I was